Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge-sharing community. We have one such corporate giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Anil Kumar Gutta. He is an accomplished professional and former executive director with nearly 3 decades of extensive corporate experience. He has excelled in setting up test centers for excellence for multiple organizations and has worked across various sectors, including insurance, wealth and asset management, banking, capital markets, life sciences, and more. With a strong focus on formulating strategies for new age technologies, he has been instrumental in driving business growth, implementing innovative solutions, and optimizing project management strategies. Currently, he is working as country head, whereby he is responsible for the overall business and product development at ENGAIZ. Previously, he was with EY and has expanded the team from 5 FTEs to 2,000 FTEs across multiple locations in India and abroad. Under his leadership, the service business has grown from ground zero to a remarkable revenue of $250 million with an annual CAGR of approximately 45%. The product business has grown from zero to over $200 million over a period of 2 years. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, Mr. Gutta.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sunny.
So to begin with, could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far?
Okay. So when I initially started off, I passed out in '86. It was way back. It's almost all 3 decades back. And I happened to work with a couple of small time firms on the basic computer programming languages at that point of a time, which is Fortran, and there were some JCLs and mainframe based systems. So when we have actually started working on that, it was a new thing for us in those days. But I happened to stick with that for quite some time, for 5 years. And then what has happened is the change started coming into the entire technology landscape itself. Got a chance to work with Danida, which is into the environmental protection as well as funding for some of the social impacted river bases across Tamil Nadu. Now, as part of that, I have joined Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board as an assistant executive engineer, and I used to support Danida team on getting all their reports sent to the government, which would be funded. The Danish government used to fund the state government, and then state government used to use those funds to clean up the river Kwam. So that was the whole journey where it has started off. Had worked there for almost all like 5 years. Have met multiple industries there, right from tanneries to oil companies, to oil storage companies, to port trusts, including the copper smelter plant in Toothcorin, which is there. So happened to visit multiple organizations in the span of 5 years. Came to understand that environmental awareness was lacking among all the SMEs. When I say SMEs, it's small and medium, as well as some were very large organizations. large organizations used to effort time and money, and then they used to set up their entire effluent treatment plants or the environmental protection equipment from the air standpoint, which is air pollution equipment. We used to collect that data and we have submitted it to the state government. So Pollution Control Board took a stand that after 3 years, they said that most of these industries are polluted, are causing damage to the social environment. And they said until unless certain equipments are placed or deployed within their premises, they cannot run their business. So there was a huge issue out there. All the SMEs have gone to the court, right till the Supreme Court, to get a stay on implementing any of this. So it was a change that was happening, and I could see the change coming in. But it was in India, as you know, things move at a very slower pace, and you need to have a whip when industries will actually start implementing certain things. So that is what has happened. The CETs now, which are available at Hosur or at Ranipet, at Ambur, etc., where most of the tanneries are there. I was actually instrumental when I was deputed there to help build all these common effluent treatment plants. So that is where the entire journey has started. Then after probably couple of years, the funding from Danish government has stopped. And then there was, the Danish government wanted the Indian state governments to also fund it. And state governments don't have enough funds to actually help all the small and medium enterprises. So there was a time period when people were just running the same effluent treatment plants or the air monitoring control measures as it is, but not much of an improvement was happening. So that was the time when I moved to US. I had a chance of moving to US, and I worked with Amex in US from 1995 to around 2000, so almost all like 5 years. Worked on their multiple credit card businesses, which was also into mainframe. So that was the connect that I had, because I was also working on Fortran-based languages and mainframe-based languages. So I got a chance, and I stayed in Phoenix, Arizona, for almost all like 5 years there. So once the entire project was over, I thought that rather than working abroad, it's better to come back to India and start something of my own. That is when the entire journey has moved from a small entity, a small job, to into environment side, which was not of that importance at that point of a time in India. And then once I came back, we started Fixes Technology Solutions. It's a technology firm which we started into the payment systems, into banking, capital markets, and e-education at that point of a time. We have ran it for a couple of years, wherein we were only few people, around 10 to 12 people, the initial core people who have started that entire organization in an SEZ. And we picked up most of the roles that an IT organization should have. For example, I was actually managing the business. I was the business unit head for, say, the e-learning platform. I was a management representative for some of the certification processes, such as CMMI and ISO. I was also taking care of HR part of it. When I say HR, it's recruitment and then setting up processes within the organization. That was the one organization where it was very interesting, because you build everything ground up, and we grew very fast. We grew within a span of around 4 years. We grew to almost all like 1,500 people. It was in that range. But once there was a discussion in the board that they want to also expand, because it went public, they had a lot of money, etc. They moved into some of the non-IT related businesses, in which I was not interested in, because my core was all into programming, into IT, etc. So that was the main reason why I was actually picked up that role. So I moved to a couple of organizations in Bangalore, where I was working with the pharma company called Pfizer. I think you might be knowing some of the pharma giants. Some of the big clients that I got a chance of working with Pfizer, P&G, AstraZeneca. So these are all well-known names in the pharma industry. So the platform that we have built at that time was something called as Clinicopia, which is in the human trials of the drug development process at the fourth stage. In order to accelerate the process, we used to actually use IT to actually accelerate it. So I was acting as a principal quality assurance controller for all the products that were released to each of these organizations. The way that pharma industry works is entirely different from the way that IT or any other sectors work. In pharma, you need to follow certain FDA regulations. There are certain GAM practices which you need to follow. And unless each of these pharma organizations validate the entire product twice and submit the test results to the FDA, it would not give a clearance for implementing it. So that was a big challenge. And they are right in saying that, because even a small mistake in the software side of that particular product development, it will actually lose a lot of human life. And that is very important. So there were multiple CROs, all called as clinical research organizations, who were actually picking up the drugs from each of these organizations, and they do inject with some of the human trials part of it and see if there are any reactions, and then that is how the drug development process takes place. So at present now, in the new age one that has been moved, they have changed the entire drug development process, but way back 20 years back, it was entirely different. So now you have got some platforms where you can accelerate it. You don't have those platforms in those days. So that's one part of it. So if you look at my journey, even though I was in IT, I was just moving across into, say, the environmental side, into the pharma side, and then subsequently I have moved into a couple of organizations in Bangalore, and then into when I moved into EY is where I again started looking at the multiple domains that I can work upon, which is the insurance. We started off with insurance domain. Insurance is a sector across the globe, which is the most unorganized one. And it doesn't have any automated systems at that point of a time, way back 2004, 2005. So we have identified certain products such as Guidewire, Fineos, Data, etc. We use some of these products which have been built to automate the entire insurance industry. Now, within the insurance industry, there are multiple areas. For example, insurance industry in India is very nascent. It is just opening up. It's very new at present in India. But if you look at the Western world, in US or in Canada or in UK, you have property and casualty, you have marine insurance, you have workers' comp, you have multiple of those lines of businesses, which in India, it is pretty new. People don't even have insurances for their property. So, and if you compare it, in India, it's only 3% of the people have insurances for their property, etc. But in US, it's almost all like 50–60%. So at least they are aware why they have to take an insurance. So India will ultimately reach there, but there is a whole business available out there. So at EY, when we started off insurance, we happened to actually change the entire North American insurance industry by implementing Guidewire. Guidewire was a product that we used. We were doing almost all a very good business of 200 million every month for EY. So it was right from your claims, your policy, your billing, your life and non-life, all of this were actually transformed. So we used to get certain huge engagements on only claims transformation, on policy transformation, or on billing transformation. So these are all areas within a domain. I picked up the entire knowledge from EY on the insurance sector, because I was not knowing that you have this big an industry which is running for the last 100 years. And I was not even aware of the domain. So that's a good learning for me. That was one area. The other area was into wealth and asset management. Most of them would understand that Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, you have multiple of these investment firms in the US. But they also do a lot of wealth management for HNI clients. They actually pick up their funds, and then there is a assured rate of returns, etc., which is given. And they have a set of advisors who are either FAs or CSAs, etc., which we usually call. The knowledge base that these folks carry is very niche. And even for Morgan or the other investment bankers, it is very difficult to capture all their knowledge base and put it into a system so that they can actually streamline the entire thought process and go ahead with some sort of an investment decision. So that was one area we started off with Morgan Stanley. It worked out well. I think Morgan Stanley account is still with EY for the last probably 8-9 years. They are able to help them in multiple ways by using AI, as well as some of the new age technologies. It is getting transformed. It will take some more years till they reach a particular point where it can be completely automated. So that sector was also completely new to me. And one good learning through my entire journey was I learned a couple of domains. From EY, I learned 3 different domains, which is insurance, banking capital markets, or the wealth and asset management. Life sciences, I anyway knew it when earlier itself. So I have a very good exposure into the environmental side, into the pharma side, into insurance, banking capital markets. So these domains, because worked with in each of these domains for 5 years. So if you actually look at it, I would actually relish to working in an organization like EY, where it's an open culture. You are given full freedom to operate and to build that entire domain skill, as well as go to the market, you bring in the projects and then deliver it. That has really helped me a lot in actually building up the team. Now, some of those areas, I have just used it at ENGAIZ, because I just moved out of EY. At ENGAIZ, we are into the risk and compliance, which is more again related with government regulations, or probably things that a corporate organization has to adhere to. And we have brought all of that into our platform. And this platform is given as a SaaS-based model, or as a model wherein it's a pay-as-use or pay-as-you-go. So these are some of the models that we have adopted here. We got very good feedback from the market. And the same platform is now used into insurance and banking capital markets. So that is how, if you look at it, there are a lot of other things which we can learn, but some of these things has really helped me a lot in knowing some of these domains, which probably it will help if people working in these domains can actually move ahead and create certain new opportunities by using the new age technologies. That is what I would like to mention. And in this overall 33 years of my journey, I feel that I had the opportunity to work across 4 or 5 different domains, and I really relish those years, what I have worked out there. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Gutta, thank you for the excellent start to this interview. Continuing our conversation, we would like to know, as you have a really vast professional purview and have handled various roles, which of them have you enjoyed the most? And have you ever felt as though you have had to step out of your core area of excellence?
Yeah. So as I was telling you, it was multiple domains that I have been working upon. It was a learning every day. So whenever I have moved into a new domain, we need to understand the domain. We need to understand how IT can be an enabler in that domain. Because IT itself is not something which will help any domain. It is just an enabler. You need to know it's a business solution which can be enabled by IT. That is how it works out. So from an environmental standpoint, where reporting was done to the Danish government, that was one area which I have to come out of my core skills of IT and understand how the parameters have to be calculated and how the reporting mechanism has to be done. Those calculations have helped me in understanding what is the amount of environmental impact that some of these particles can cause to the nature. That is one thing which I came to know. The second part was when I moved into the life sciences side of it, wherein when I worked with Pfizer or say P&G, the clinical platform, Clinicopia as such, I understood the importance because FDA used to sit with me, go through each and every report and see in case there are certain things which are not passed and what were the reasons. And they used to be very diligent in each and every area. That is where came to understand how important this domain is. And as you know, pharma is a good domain to be in because as long as humans are there, we need to have certain medicine for some of the whatever diseases or probably to develop certain new products which can help us live longer. So that was the whole context under which the entire product development was happening in those large pharma companies. Of course, they used to have budget. So that was something which, even though I was into the IT, I need to tie back my IT skills into the domain and see how it can be actually mapped. That was something where it has really helped me. And at EY, insurance was completely a different ballgame for me because I have never expected an insurance industry, which is more than 100-year-old industry, which is not automated to whatever extent the rest of the sectors were automated. So that was something which has actually helped me realize what value add we can add into some of these domains. My entire thought process has changed after that. So I started now looking at only domains where there is a business and see how IT can be enabled into those domains. And that is actually what makes business sense for people outside. And they only look at those small innovative ideas which they can take it into the market and which can help them reduce the overall cost and increase their margin. So industry operates in that fashion, but we have to actually look at in a different angle on what the domain is actually working about and how IT can be actually used to enable it and then take it forward. So it was almost all in my life career. It was around 3 or 4 times that I had to shift my entire focus and use my IT skills into each of these domains. And that was really, really good for me because I had that opportunity. I don't know how many of others would have got that opportunity, but I realized that I was fortunate enough to get those opportunities during my entire career.
Absolutely, Mr. Gutta.
Yeah.
Moving ahead and building on that, you have had several achievements. Which of them do you regard as the best so far?
So, okay, that's there are a couple of them The best one I would actually put it across to the EY part, wherein the entire organization was completely ground up. We were just looking at how do we structure it, how do we build a practice, how do we build a competency. It was all ground up, and then get into the market, go and sell, and then build it up. I would say, in my view, EY is the best organization what I relish, because I have built it ground up, and that has really changed my entire perspective of the business. Because we came to understand how the business owners in the in the industry start off ground up and how are they building it. So in EY, it's same as that. Of course, you're doing a job, but still you have to build it ground up. And that is what has opened my eyes, and I relish that job the most compared to any other organization.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. So moving ahead, we would like to know, as a former executive director, do you believe that the corporate ecosystem in India can benefit more by some more better government policies?
Government policies, yeah. So as I was mentioning earlier, during the environmental acts which were enacted way back in 90s, most of the industry was not even aware of it, and they were not willing to implement certain things which government has bought it in theory. The only problem what we have in India is government should also conduct certain awareness or training classes to the industry segment, so that they understand the importance of it, understand the importance of the social impact that they are creating it, and then implement some of those by owning some of the initiatives that government has actually enacted upon. What I have seen in those days is, even though government regulations are there, industry was not willing to listen to what government has enacted. And that is why most of them went to the courts, and in the Supreme Court, it was finally given a judgment. It's a long down process. So instead of that, if we have certain training courses or certain awareness for the industry, and we should also look at people who understand some of these regulations as well as activities that the industry can do for the social impact, that will actually really help. And what you have asked is right. We need more leaders who can understand the regulation as well as the social impact. And if some of these leaders get into some of the MSMEs, and they actually can help the industry owners to actually change the way that they think or perceive things. And that will bring in a very big change in the industry in India.
Rightly said, Mr. Gutta.
Yeah.
So before we conclude our discussion on corporate governance, I would quickly like to ask you, as an ESG and corporate governance expert, what values do you bring to the table? Okay.
So for me, because from a corporate governance standpoint, I have seen how the environmental impacts or the social impacts are causing for some of the pollutions that industry is actually doing. I came to understand that because I worked as an AE earlier, and I have also moved into some of the sectors like insurance and banking capital markets, where we are trying to see how can we reduce the overall carbon footprint. So for example, insurance industry traditionally was all paper driven. So they used to actually print out paper, sign it, and they used to store it. It's all a long drawn process, and it's not environment friendly at all. And now slowly when we started automating it, you have some of the systems like document management system, or probably automated claims processing, or probably automated policy issuance systems, etc., coming into play. The entire paper related things which causes an impact to the environment has come down to almost all like maybe around 5 or 7%. Not in all countries, but in some countries. But there are still some countries where the traditional way is still going on. We may have to change that as well as we move forward. That is one part of it. The other part, what I also see is with UPI and digital payments coming into the play in India, which is not there across the globe. If you actually take a look at the other countries, I don't even an advanced economy like US or Canada doesn't have UPI. So this is a great change that it is coming up, and this will really help because what was happening previously is we used to swipe the card, there used to be a receipt coming in. You need to actually again make the paper rolls, etc., which is again not environment friendly. So there are areas we are slowly moving there, but I think we need to move a little bit faster in multiple other sectors as well. It can be either on the vehicular side, which EV vehicles are coming up. It's a bit slow in India, but as and when more professionals come into the play, I think this process will get expedited very fast.
My next question is on technology, since it's an integral part of our lives now. What are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, big data, Web 3.0, etc.?
Yeah. So
I have seen. I will just put it that way. What I have seen is in insurance industry, for example, in EY, we have something called as claims processing, because as a claims management system, when we have it, there is a, for example, take a scenario of a car crash. Car has got crashed. Traditional way is you send somebody, go and visit the site, they pick up some photographs, and then it comes to the office of the insurance company. Then they actually process it. They understand who is the driver. So there's a whole lot of a process which is manual. With the new age technologies at present, and IoT being in place, where drones are actually integrated. So the new way that it is going to happen in the future is drone, as soon as a crash happens, you actually just have an SMS call or a SOS call to the insurance organization. A drone flies from the insurance organization, goes to the site. It actually scans. There's a live video streaming of the entire accidented car that is there. Those videos are stored in the server of the insurance company. You get a call. The driver of the car gets a call if he needs any assistance, and the assistance is arranged by the insurance organization. So if you take a look at this entire scenario, it all happens in minutes. But the traditional way, it takes 2 days, 3 days to actually assess, to understand what is required, etc. Things are changing with the new age technologies. With the new age technologies like AI, etc., drones will be coming into play into multiple sectors. It can be agriculture, it can be into, say, the insurance sector itself in some of the areas. And then there will be the IoT, which I was talking of, is an integration of the software with the drone hardware itself. And that is how it happens. So that sort of changes will come in a large way. In the agricultural sector, I will give you another example. Traditionally, most of the farmers sow multiple fertilizers or probably sowing seeds, etc. Now, as per the new age one, you just need to have your laptop and a drone. You actually load the drone with whatever you want to sow or the fertilizers you want to sow. You can actually initiate it. Drone does the job in probably 2-3 hours. Previously, it was a manual piece of work. There's a whole lot of revolution which is actually hitting, which is not seen by others in the world, but it will slowly hit. And if you see, these things are going to change the way that we are actually operating or working today. So there can also be on the transportation side. Hyperloop is a good way of actually commuting between two different places. It's very fast and reliable. It will come up. So that also actually works on an IT-based system integrated with the hardware. And because it runs very fast, you also need to know when to stop, when to move, etc. So all of this are going to change with the AI taking over some of the activities that humans do previously. So I think it's exciting to be in this area or in this space, but probably I will not be able to see what will happen the next 30, 40 years afterwards. But I think for the next generations, it would be a very good place to be in and observe all of these changes happening.
Absolutely. That was so insightful of you, Mr. Gutta. Okay, so moving on to next and the last question of the session. We are building a community of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Heval Mehta, and the whole team of WDC?
Okay, good. So I think this is a good initiative. Previously, none of them were aware of some of this, that there is an IDs which have to be there. There were no regulations, as the regulations might have been there, but people were not implementing it. But I think this is a good initiative from the World Directors Institute to actually see that more people are pulled in who have the knowledge base across multiple sectors. You create a whole pool of them because you will have only a limited knowledge on particular sectors. Probably using them across multiple sectors, it will really help us build a better world for tomorrow. I think this initiative is really good from your side.
Great. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Anil Kumar Gutta, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched their minds.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Sunny, and thanks a lot for your team. Yeah.
Thank you. Have a nice day.